The Washington Commanders are navigating a new offensive system while trying to resolve a delicate situation with their wide receivers. The team faces significant challenges in building a balanced attack that can compete in the NFC. As a fan who follows every move, I know this is a critical situation for the future of the franchise. Here is a battle that fantasy football players need to watch very closely during training camp. The public's attention naturally focuses on the wide receiver group, and there are two main factors that make this competition so important. First, the Commanders have a quarterback with the potential to be a fantasy football star, capable of turning any receiver into a valuable player. Second, the team has no established second wide receiver. Let's be realistic about expectations. We're not talking about numbers comparable to the top receivers in the league. The Commanders' offense is not going to compete with the Cowboys. In terms of offensive explosiveness, the team simply doesn't have that kind of deep talent behind its star receiver. However, we're talking about genuine relevance for fantasy football. If a true second wide receiver emerges for the Commanders, numbers could reach around 900 yards and perhaps 6 touchdowns during the season. There are basically 4 main candidates in the competition, although that number could rise to 5 if we consider some dark horses. Antonio Williams, Luke McCaffrey, Treylon Burks, Dyami Brown, and Jalen Lane are all competing for this crucial position. Quarterback Jaden Daniels has taken on a leadership role in this process, recognizing the importance of each player in the new system. He highlighted that the team is very intentional in what they do, with a high level of demand on the receivers through different formations and potential positional changes. Antonio Williams came to the NFL with an impressive reputation from Clemson, known for his ability to manipulate defenders and create space through his route running. He showcased these skills during the first practice of training camp, impressing observers with his ability to shake off defenders. What makes Williams a particularly interesting pick is that he proved in college that he could consistently score touchdowns. This is music to the ears of fantasy football players looking for value in mid-rounds. During the 2-point conversion competition at training camp, Williams used his ability to shake free to create a massive separation in a very small area of the field. He presented a completely open target for the quarterback to throw the ball to him in the end zone. In his first opportunity at training camp, Williams not only had a solid session, but also displayed the skills that made him a popular choice among NFL observers. ESPN analysts have already started praising Williams, with some predicting he will win the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. Williams has an opportunity that compares to many of his contemporaries selected in the early rounds of the draft. There's hardly any competition in the Commanders' receiver group behind their star receiver. Williams will be catching passes from a notably talented quarterback, someone who can elevate the performance of any receiver around him. Furthermore, Williams fits perfectly into the new Detroit-style-inspired offense. He's a player who slips effortlessly and makes fearless receptions across the middle of the field. His ability to gain yards after the catch is remarkable for a rookie. However, the fact that he is a rookie means he has a lot to learn about the professional game. This opens the door for other candidates to establish their credentials. Luke McCaffrey is under immense pressure after 2 almost invisible seasons in the NFL. His father, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, believes this could be the year of Luke's rise. He pointed out that Luke is working very hard to be the best player possible, recognizing that the competition is fierce. His father noted that Luke was in great shape during the offseason, looking stronger, faster, and more explosive than he did a year ago. Treylon Burks is also in the mix, but he is facing significant challenges. His biggest problem always seems to be his propensity for injuries, a factor that concerns the organization. He is already hurt at the beginning of training camp, raising questions about his durability. Burks has missed 33 games in 4 seasons in the NFL, a number that simply doesn't work in such a competitive league. His chances of staying healthy long enough to secure the second wide receiver position seem minimal at this point. The kicker position battle is one of the few roster battles that can be decided almost entirely by the numbers put up on the field. On the first day of competition, Jake Moody and Drew Stevens had their first opportunity to show their worth. Both kickers were at the top of their performances, making all 6 kicks they attempted. The only issue was that, with both being perfect, the competition remained exactly as it was, with no clear leader emerging. Moody is the starting kicker, and the team liked him so much that they renewed his contract in March. He joined the Commanders at the end of last season and converted 10 of his last 11 field goal attempts for Washington. Stevens is the undrafted kicker from Iowa who was brought in specifically to compete with and push Moody during training. Stevens is not just a practice kicker. He holds records in several categories in Hawkeyes history, with considerable range after a college career that included 12 field goals of at least 50 yards. Thursday was not the first time the two had matched each other's performances, as both also went 6 for 6 during the final practice of minicamp. While never missing is not bad, and the team is likely enjoying that, it may extend the competition longer than expected, Kick accuracy alone will not decide which kicker Washington keeps on the final roster. The coaching staff will maintain a continuous record of each kick to assess range, consistency, ability to mesh with the snapper and holder, and how each kicker reacts after a miss. Head coach Dan Quinn plans to introduce game-like conditions that will be presented to each kicker in an unplanned manner throughout training. Preseason games will provide the best test with real game situations, including real opponent pressure and concrete consequences. Moody has the advantage of experience, having played in the NFL in various situations. Stevens needs to prove that his performance in college football is enough to withstand the pressure of the professional level. The first day's performance strengthened the position of each kicker without weakening the others. At the end of the day, both remained undefeated, but Washington has yet to define who will be the starter when the regular season begins. The second day of the Commanders' training camp has ended with several encouraging developments and some points that deserve careful attention. The most important theme that emerged was that Washington's defense is already working to force more turnovers, one of the team's weaknesses last season. The team forced only 10 turnovers throughout the previous season, an unacceptably low number for a competitive defense. The defense had an impressive day with 3 different interceptions during the session. An undrafted safety intercepted a pass during the competition. The second-year cornerback forced the running back to suffer a fumble through an aggressive approach. The veteran cornerback ended the practice with an interception on a pass, returning the ball for a touchdown that energized the entire defense. Head coach Dan Quinn was clear about his priorities, telling reporters that ball security and turnovers are everything for the team. The aggression in the pursuit of the ball during practice is clearly intentional and part of a larger plan. The team is monitoring plays, opportunities, and conversions every day to ensure progress is being made. On offense, a tight end stood out as a genuine threat in pass reception during day 2. It is particularly important for him to establish a role for himself early in training camp, after Washington added another tight end in the offseason, and is still trying to define how to split responsibilities at that position. The starting quarterback was able to find a receiver for a touchdown with the first team, demonstrating that the new offensive system is beginning to function. A receiver made what many described as the best catch of training camp so far, with a beautiful contested catch in the middle of the field. The backup quarterback also connected on a pass with rookie Antonio Williams, who now has 2 solid performances while wearing the first team's jersey. While it is great to see the receiver group producing evenly, the competition for the second wide receiver position remains undefined. While Washington's defensive success in the first 2 days is great, it has only exposed offensive errors that cannot be overlooked. The running back had issues with fumbles last year, and seeing him drop the ball again during practice is a bit concerning. Ball security was what limited him in his rookie season, and that pattern cannot continue. An undrafted quarterback suffered an interception at a particularly bad time, with every rep being meticulously analyzed at this level for his position. The competitive environment of training camp amplifies every mistake. The interception by another quarterback at the end of the session ended the offense's chances of finishing the day on a positive note. Interceptions in training camp are not surprising when the defense is instructed to play excessively aggressively to force turnovers. However, losing possession 3 times in a single session should provide the offensive coaching staff with several problem areas to analyze in the video room. Ball security needs to improve significantly before the regular season. An injury to an offensive lineman's calf forced Washington to experiment at the center position. Several candidates received opportunities with the first team, each training with a different quarterback. For the offensive line coaching staff, it's a great time to assess the available talent to bolster the position. Overall, though, it is a missed opportunity for the injured player to solidify a competition that the team believes he can win. Turnovers were the deciding factor on day 2, while the battles for the receiver and kicker positions remained tight early on. The big question now is whether ball recoveries will become a recurring theme in the Commanders' training camp, or if Thursday's session was just an isolated incident that can be corrected with additional work. So, fan, after discovering how fantasy football coaches are keeping an eye on an unmissable battle at training camp, understanding how the competition for the kicker position started without a clear leader, and knowing that the second day revealed significant positives and negatives, which of these situations makes you more hopeful or worried?